Welcome to today's webinar. I'm so glad you have chosen to join us today. We're going to be talking about building your 2026 lead ecosystem. And hard to believe we are already to the end of November, the final two-thirds of November. And so we are getting into that point where we've got to talk about next year. And so I'm glad you've chosen to join me today. And we're going to be looking today at creating more predictability in your business, how to get more quality leads, how to get rid of the guesswork, and as you move into 2026, how to really create a more of a system that allows you to scale with predictability, with more assurance, and really develop a system that you know is dependable and helps you accomplish what it is you want to accomplish this next year. So I'm going to show you how to blueprint your lead ecosystem and create a system that drives growth across multiple channels, particularly those core channels of search engine optimization, pay-per-click, referrals, and then moving beyond that as well. Now, we're going to blueprint your multi-channel marketing game plan and give you some data-backed insights to do that today. And so that's really the objective of our time together. So that's what we're going to do. Hopefully you've got your notepad, your pen out, and you are ready to buckle in and get going. If you've not joined us before on one of our webinars, let me just give you a little background about myself, why you may want to listen to me. My name is Carl Willis. I am the CEO here at Remodeling Marketing Team. I've been marketing online since 1997, back in the days of dial-up. I am the author of Internet Marketing for Home Remodeling Companies, co-author of The Ultimate Guide to AI Tools for Home Remodelers, the creator of the Marketing Classroom. I'm an international keynote speaker on business growth and lead generation. In fact, just returned from Kenya last week, where I was talking for a week on that very set of topics. Widely accepted as a go-to expert on internet marketing for home remodeling businesses, and have had the privilege of working with companies across the U.S. and internationally on topics of digital marketing, lead generation, and all things AI these days. So, as we jump into this, anytime we talk about online marketing, we're always going to talk about your ecosystem. And today is no exception. When we talk about the ecosystem, really what we're talking about is this big pie. There are many components to that: SEO, PPC, retargeting, your online paid directories, your repeat and referral business, pay-per-lead business, social media advertising, your referral programs. Of course, AI now is in the middle of all of that. Your website is a piece of that. Your brand is a piece of that. So all of those things are a part of your ecosystem, and you can think of your ecosystem like a giant spider web. And that is really the concept that I want you to grab a hold of today. Is we want to maximize your ecosystem, because your prospects, your homeowners that you are trying to capture their attention, they are all over that ecosystem. They are going to look at you from multiple angles, multiple platforms, multiple points of contact. It is not a one and done proposition. And so we need to be effectively utilizing the ecosystem to draw them in and turn them into your most valuable customers. So let's talk about what's going on as we head into 2026. and the opportunity that awaits you in this coming year. And as we look at 2026, there are massive shifts in how homeowners not only find, but how they choose and trust contractors. And those shifts have actually been taking place already. And so we're not far off from 2026. We're about 6 weeks out. The playing field has already been in motion, and it's been in motion for a while. Of course, the buzzword is AI, artificial intelligence, and Google's evolving search model is really driving the action. What's happening is homeowners' expectations are changing. And what's happening with the way Google is delivering search is a big factor behind the way those expectations are changing. Here's the caution I want to make to you. Those who wait are going to pay in lost ground, meaning you're going to be playing catch up for a long time the longer you wait. Now, those who build their ecosystem and get active in building that ecosystem are going to be the ones who are dominating in the years ahead. And so, again, you hear me talk about the ecosystem, and let's really break this down. What is a lead ecosystem? At the core, it is a big spider web. And that's what I want you to really think about. It is a big lead generating spider web. A lead ecosystem, at its very nature, is your interconnected network of channels, contact points, touch points, and content. And what it's doing is it's pulling leads in. This is through things like search engine optimization and content, and it's also pushing awareness out. So it's got multiple functions. It's attracting in through content and search engine optimization, but it's also pushing awareness out through pay-per-click and retargeting. And then it's building trust on the sidelines with things like social proof and referrals. And in this spider web, if you will, you're going to have your search engine components. You're going to have your paid ad components. You're going to have your reviews. You're going to have your social media content. You're going to have your referrals. You're going to have your email marketing. And all of these things are going to be working synergistically together, moving in harmony, because again, your prospect is going to be moving in between these different modalities, these different platforms. Here's what you want to keep in mind. Your prospect touches one string, let's say a Google ad or a blog post or a friend's referral. And that whole spider web, if you will, starts vibrating. So, what is our job as marketers, as business owners, as the remodeling contractor? It's to build that web as strong as we can, as visible as we can, and make it as sticky as we can. So, what we want to happen is when that prospect lands on that blog post, let's say, well, we want that web to start vibrating and we want them to then touch something else and stick to it. So maybe they go to a social media post or your Google business profile or your reviews or a video. What we want to do is we want to create as many sticking points as we can, because the more points that we create a stick, the more likely that person is to do business with you. What we're finding in today's environment is the average consumer may have about 12 touch points before they actually make real contact with you. And when I say real contact, I mean picking up the phone or submitting a form to make that actual contact with your company. And so we want to make sure we are maximizing every point of contact prior to that actual reach out and touch communication. So when we look at what's happening today, there's some data that we really want to pay attention to. And this is kind of underlying what we're discussing today. This is the behavior that we're seeing in 2024 and 2025. These are the trends. This is a big one. 70% of buyers are deciding who they're going to do business with before they ever call. Let that sink in. 70% of buyers have made the buying decision before they ever call. They've already made up their mind. So you've got to create all of the decision-making mechanisms before they ever get to you. That means your brand has to show up before that moment, not after. You've got to answer all the questions, give all the decision factors prior to, not after the fact. There's got to be 10 to 12 brand touch points before conversion. We're seeing that over and over again. So if we're not giving enough opportunities for touch points, then we become irrelevant. And then 60% plus of searches end without someone clicking a website. And that's because of the AI overviews. So with Google's AI overviews, we're not just fighting for position, we're actually fighting for attention. Because Google's AI overviews are now actually recommending who the customer should do business with. And as I said, what's interesting when we're looking at data, more than 60% of those searches don't even end up in anyone going to a website. The transaction actually takes place from the overview. That's where the contact gets made from. So if you don't show up in that AI overview, you just simply don't exist. The consumer doesn't even know you're an option. And that's the worst thing that could happen. The sad part is we're seeing companies who have been in business 20, 25 years who literally have disappeared from existence because the AI overviews don't recognize they exist. So when we look into 2026, there's a marketing stack that you need to have in place. And again, this is what's going to make up your ecosystem. When we talk about your marketing stack, you need all 6 of these lanes working together. You can't just have one. There is no magic bullet. These things have to be working in synergy together. And I want you to think of this like a home build. You wouldn't frame a house and forget the plumbing, right? Well, the same is true with your marketing stack. So you need search engine optimization. You've got to have visibility on the search engine to attract. You need pay-per-click advertising to accelerate. Search engine optimization is your long game. Pay-per-click advertising is where we put a little nitrous oxide to the dragster and accelerate quickly. You need your social media and your video to educate and deploy the brand with a wide net. You need your reviews and reputation management to reassure the consumer that you're legitimate and that people like you. You need retargeting to accelerate the trust factor and the decision-making process, and to keep at the top of mind as people are going through that decision process. And then you need referrals to multiply your exposure and your repeat business. See, here's the thing. The stack is not optional for you. It's foundational in today's world. You can't just decide that'd be nice to have. You've got to have it. The term that we like to use internally is omnipresence. You've got to be everywhere. Your consumer, your homeowner, has to find you inescapable. When they're making searches, they have to run into you. When they see ads, they need to see you. When they're on social media and looking at videos, they need to find you there. When they're looking at reviews, they need to see your name. When they've been to your website, you need to be following them around afterwards. When they're asking friends and family, who do you recommend? They need to be hearing about you. Everything has to work together. There's got to be synergy to your ecosystem. That's where your effectiveness comes in. And in today's AI-driven world, that's what the AI recognizes as well. It is the entirety of your footprint that the AI recognizes as being authoritative, and that's why the AI serves you up. You are the authority in your area. You are the expert in your area, and that's why the AI recommends you. Now, let's deep dive these different channels and break them down a little further so you have a better understanding of why they are so critical to your ecosystem, why they're so critical to the mix, why you can't just leave one out. So let's start with SEO. Now, SEO has been around for a long time, and let me just say this. SEO has gotten a bad rap because there are a lot of SEO vendors out there, and I'm not trying to pick on anybody, but often they come from somewhere else. We'll just put it that way. And SEO has been a little haphazard. We're talking good SEO, SEO that is built to last. And what SEO is, it's the long game. It's organic search. That's where your longevity and your authority gets built. And so when we talk about SEO, we want to dominate local search and the AI overviews simultaneously. And we do that by feeding the machine. So we want to create AI ready content. We want to make sure that the site speed is good, that we're giving a good mobile user experience, that we are simultaneously addressing local search engine optimization and Google business profile optimization, and that we are creating content, in particular blog content, for high intent queries, those questions that people are frequently asking. You see, the right blog post that is written with both the homeowner and the search engine in mind will actually become your number one salesperson. It will drive a lot of traffic. If it is structured well, it will create a lot of new business for you. It will create a lot of new leads for you, and it will have great residual value. It will be selling for you 24/7, 365, and will be one of the greatest sales tools you will have deployed for yourself. Sad part is most home remodeling contractors just don't take the time to do it. They don't make content a piece of their business model. The second channel we want to focus on is pay-per-click. And pay-per-click is a combination of speed and precision. Now, just like SEO, pay-per-click also has a bit of a bad rap because a lot of people have done pay-per-click poorly and have wasted a lot of money. Pay-per-click is not something you just try. It's not something you just dip your toe in the water with, and it's not something you just do haphazardly. Pay-per-click, when done right, is a gas pedal. And you have to test and refine and scale, but when you do it, you scale fast. And so when we talk about pay-per-click, we're talking primarily about Google ads, search, display, and local ads, but primarily search ads and local service ads. We're also talking about Facebook and Instagram ads. We're talking about retargeting your past visitors. That's one of the most effective uses of pay-per-click advertising because those are people who have already shown interest and shown intent. And so if you're going to be strategic in your advertising and expenditures, advertise to those who have already shown intent by visiting your site. And then, of course, you want to focus on your landing pages. So you want to match up the messaging to your advertising. And so when you pair pay-per-click with your SEO, you're covering both your long-term authority and your short-term action. You're catching those who are currently in the market right now, got to have it, with those who are in research mode, which is what your SEO is going to help you capture. And so when you do that, that is a powerful 1-2 combination. And so what pay-per-click does is it puts top end to your strategy, puts the acceleration, it's the nitrous oxide, if you will, to your dragster. The next channel we want to look at is your referrals and reviews. And I can't stress this one enough because reviews are your 24/7 sales reps. Reputation is truly your silent salesperson. You want to look for those 5-star reviews. Be sure and ask for a referral at the end of every project. Even have branded referral incentives. Give a little perk when people give you referrals. And then be sure and showcase and social proof your reviews and do that over and over again. Highlight those things. Remember this, referral programs don't have to be fancy. They just have to be consistent. Just make it something you do all the time, even if you need to use some automation to do that. But make sure you're consistent in doing that. And ask every happy client to send somebody your way. This is so important. What we are finding, especially with Google's AI, is in its recommendations, it is using actual consumer reviews as one of the primary criteria for the businesses that it recommends in its search queries. So we can't understate the importance of reviews enough. Those reviews are a major factor in who the Google AI is referring when a consumer is searching for services in their local area. More than any other factor is reviews. So good reviews, frequency of reviews, and what I'm going to say is depth of reviews. What kind of services did you provide? And if you will focus on those, you're going to find you have an advantage over those that don't. Now, let's talk about where most remodeling contractors are getting stuck. Well, first and foremost, they get stuck using one, maybe two channels. In today's world, you cannot be a one-trick pony. Single channel dependence is going to hurt you. This is a multiple modality environment, and the only way to dominate is to develop an ecosystem around yourself. We preach ecosystem. We have always preached ecosystem. We build ecosystem. That is what we do. We are not a one-off agency vendor. We are all about ecosystem because that's what dominates. And that's what we preach because we know that's what works. You are going to have to use multiple channels if you want to dominate your local market. You have to remember the market is demanding more from you as a contractor today. If you're not following up, if you're not tracking leads, if you are resistant to investing in your marketing, if you are resistant to investing in technology, if you are resistant to investing in your business, you are going to be losing to your competitors. That's the world that you are operating in. Those who are aggressive, those who are willing to invest in their businesses, those who are embracing technology, those who know their numbers, those are the people who are winning the game. Speed to lead is critical. Multiple modality, multiple channel, ecosystem dominance, all of those are critical components if you're going to win the game in today's world in 2026 and moving forward. Now let's lay out the blueprint for 2026. How do you blueprint this out? How do you put your ecosystem together? Well, number one, your first step, get clear on your avatar and your markets. Here's what I mean by that. Know who it is you're trying to reach and where are they. So not every homeowner is your ideal customer. There is a certain type of homeowner and a certain type of home or neighborhood or community that is ideal for you, that is more profitable, more lucrative, creates greater long-term value for you than anywhere else or anyone else. And you want to get clear on who that person is, where they live, what they do, what their hobbies are, what their interests are, where they work, what their family looks like, what age are they, what type of profession are they in. You want to get granular in describing that individual. You want to get granular in describing the type of projects they're looking for. You want to get granular in the neighborhood they live in. Get clear on who it is you're looking for. Step two, you want to audit all of the channels and assets that you currently have, that you're currently using. What's working, what's not working, where do you need to beef it up? Where do you need to pull it back? Where do you need to eliminate some things? Where do you need to add other things? And then from there, you want to build and optimize your ecosystem stack. Add the components that are missing, get rid of the ones that aren't working, and start optimizing. And then measure your return. Measure the things that matter. Know your KPIs, consistently measure those KPIs, tweak, refine, tweak, refine, tweak and refine, and then scale. Scale smartly. Don't be scared. Keep moving forward. Now, let me give you a real world example here. It's one of our clients, capital improvement. And capital improvement is a great case study. Capital improvement's a 30-year-old company, changed hands a few years ago, and the new owners came in and really were trying to take the company to a new level. And we brought the ecosystem to bear on their business. And here's the results: 2x in lead volume, improved their review rating, shortened their sales cycle, created a balanced ecosystem return on investment, and their lead volume increased. In fact, they recorded a video for us today, and they sold more sunrooms. So they are an exterior remodeler. Their sweet spot is sunrooms. They sold more sunrooms this year than they have in their entire 30-year history. Here's the quote that I love: "Our leads doubled within 6 months after optimizing our ecosystem." They needed the ecosystem. They couldn't be a one-trick pony. The ecosystem is critical. Here's what you have to do. You've got to be omnipresent. You've got to be everywhere that your homeowner is. And when your ecosystem starts working, it compounds. And the thing is, we're just getting started. They've just come on board with us within this year. And so we've not even had a full 12 months operating their ecosystem. So as that momentum continues to build, that ripple will just continue to grow. Now, let's talk about what happens if you wait. Well, here's the thing: your competitors are not going to wait. So doing nothing costs a whole lot more than testing smart, because the competition's not going to wait around. And here's the question you have to ask yourself: what happens if your best client finds a competitor simply because they have a stronger ecosystem? You see, your brand becomes invisible when you wait, because AI is going to simply bypass you and ignore you. And so the cost of inaction actually increases every quarter that you wait. And sadly, that is preventable, but it's only preventable if you take action now. So, what's your next step? Well, if you're serious about growing in 2026, here's your next move. Book a strategy session with us at Remodeling Marketing Team. We'll do a personalized review of your current ecosystem. There's no pressure. We just want to bring clarity to your situation. And you can schedule a strategy session with us at remodelingmarketingteam.com/get-started. Now, let me tell you this: we only work with remodeling companies who are doing over 500,000 a year in revenue and who are spending over 1,500 a month on their marketing currently. So if you're not there yet, keep tuning into our training, keep learning, keep growing. And when you get to that point, we would love to talk with you. So there are some thresholds. We don't work with everybody, but we'll be happy to help you fine tune your ecosystem. If you're already at that point, schedule with us. Now, what we want to do in that strategy session is help you identify the gaps, show you what you can do next. No pressure. We certainly are going to invite you to consider working with us. We would love to help you dominate your market. We only take one contractor per market. So if your market's not already taken, we'd love to consider working with you. So reach out and give us a call. That being said, let me open it up to answer any specific questions that you might have. Don't hold back if there's something you're thinking about. There's probably somebody else that has the same question. So let me give you just a moment to ask any questions that you might have as well. All right, doesn't look like we have any questions. So with that, I'm going to bring our webinar to an end. Next month, we are going to have our 2026 marketing planning webinar. This is our big webinar we do every December. And this is where you actually plug your numbers in and set your targets, set your budgets, and set a game plan for 2026. We'll be doing that mid-December. And so look forward to having you on that webinar. Appreciate you coming out today. Again, if you want to schedule a strategy session with us, you can do that at remodelingmarketingteam.com/get-started. Thank you for joining me today, and I look forward to talking with you in the near future. Have a great day.